What's going on, everybody? Thought we'd talk to Iron Bull real quick and go ahead and get his personal, I guess you say, companion quest done. At least one part of it here.
Come on, Krim. I'm working my ass off trying to get you to see that move.
You still got plenty of ass left, Chief. Your worship.
Glad you came by. I got a letter from my contacts in the Ben Hasrath. Already verified it with Red.
Do you want to discuss this alone?
Not like I was hiding it from my boys. Besides, right now, I need to hit something.
You know they've got training dummies, Chief.
The training dummy might actually defend itself against the shield bash. Anyway, the Ben Hasrath letter.
What did the letter say?
The Ben Hasrath have been reading my reports. They don't like Corypheus or his Venatori. And they really don't like Red Lyrium. They're ready to work with us. With you, boss. The Qunari and the Inquisition, joining forces.
That could be a powerful alliance.
My people have never made a full-blown alliance with a foreign power before. This would be a big step. They found a massive Red Lyrium shipping operation out on the coast.
They wanted us to hit it together. Talked about bringing in one of their dreadnoughts. Always wanted to see one of those big war ships in action.
Did you see that? Go get some water. They're worried
Poor
about
Krim.
keeping the smugglers, so no army. My chargers, you, maybe some backup.
What does this alliance really get us?
They wouldn't use the word alliance if they didn't mean it. Naval power. More Ben Hasrath reports. Qunari soldiers pointed at the Venatori. It could do a lot of good.
You don't seem entirely happy about this.
No, I'm good. It's... I'm used to them being over there. It's been a while.
I thought the Qunari wanted to extend their reach to the whole world.
Yeah. Just didn't think I'd see it. Look, the Qun answers a lot of questions. It's a good life for a lot of people. But it's a big change. And a lot of folks here wouldn't do so well under that kind of life. I guess it's not like we're converting. This is just us joining forces against Corypheus. On that front, I think we're good.
I think the Inquisition could use some help from the Qunari.
Good. I'll pass on word to Cullen and Red. We can set up the meeting whenever you're ready.
Iron Bull's awesome, but getting that foreboding feeling that something big is coming with the Qunari. It's been hinted at, you know, obviously in Dragon Age 2, right? But yeah, it may not end well at some point in this story.
I can keep staring at this, but I won't get any closer.
Something I can help you with?
Yes. Possibly. You recall the demon at Therenfall? The one impersonating Lord Seeker Lucius? We never found the real Lord Seeker. Or his body. Indeed, I've seen no hint of any Seekers amongst the Red Templars, or anywhere. I have a growing suspicion Corypheus has imprisoned them.
Why imprisoned? He could just as easily have killed them.
Not easily. But yes, they may be dead. Yet a demon of envy does not kill whomever it replaces. It hides them away and learns about them. There must be a trail we can follow, yet so far I have only discovered hints.
But they could have ended up just like the Red Templars.
Seekers do not use lyrium. I assume Corypheus gained control of the Templars by corrupting the lyrium they were already taking. To do the same to a Seeker, you'd have to force the lyrium upon him. That may be what happened. But it couldn't have begun that way. We're missing a piece of the puzzle, Inquisitor. I need to find it.
Finding them obviously means a lot to you.
I left the Order, but I can never abandon them. I cannot even claim that rescuing them would be beneficial. They wouldn't look kindly on the Inquisition. But even so, if there's a chance... If we can spare resources to follow up on these leads, Inquisitor, I would appreciate it.
Alright, so essentially starting her personal companion quest, or at least a part of that. Seems like a lot of these come in stages and stuff, but we can safely head to the Storm Coast now. See what we're supposed to do with the chargers. I think that's all I'm supposed to do is just essentially take Iron Bull with me and we'll pop up where we're supposed to be. Hopefully. Something like that.
All right. Our Qunari contact should be here to meet us.
He is. Good to see you again, Hisrad.
Gat! Last I heard, you were still in Saharan.
They finally decided I'd calmed down enough to go back into the world.
Boss, this is Gat. We work together in Saharan.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Inquisitor. Hisrad's reports say you're doing good work.
Iron Bull's name is Hisrad.
Under the Qun, we use titles, not names.
My title was Hisrad, because I was assigned to secret work. You can translate it as Keeper of Illusions, or...
Liar. It means liar.
Well, you don't have to say it like that.
It's so nice to hear friends say good things about me in their secret spy reports.
He does. But they aren't really secret, are they?
Look, Gat.
Relax. Unlike our superiors, I know how it works out here. We're in this together. The Tevinter Imperium is bad enough without the influence of this Venatori cult. If this new form of lyrium helps them seize power in Tevinter, the war with Qunari could get worse.
With this stuff, the Vince could make their slaves into an army of magical freaks. We could lose Saharan, and see a giant Tevinter army come marching back down here.
The Ben Hasrath agree. That's why we're here. Our dreadnought is safely out of view, and out of range of any Venatori mages on shore. We'll need to eliminate the Venatori, then signal the dreadnought so it can come in and take out the smuggler ship.
What do you think, Bull?
Don't know. I've never liked covering a dreadnought run. Too many ways for crap to go wrong. If our scouts underestimate enemy numbers, we're dead. If we can't lock down the Venatori mages, the ship is dead. It's risky.
Riskier than letting Red Lyrium into Minrathos?
There might be Venatori mages on the ship as well, if the dreadnought can't handle them.
It's unlikely there'll be more than 2 or 3 mages on the ship, and they'll be dead by the 3rd shot. On land, though, a half-dozen Venatori attacking the dreadnought from cover could do some serious damage.
If it's dangerous for the dreadnought close to shore, why not attack when the smugglers reach open water?
Any decent smuggling ship can outrun a dreadnought on open water. We need to catch them close to shore.
I could have crushed any Venatori resistance with the Inquisition's main forces. Why not use them?
Because then the Venatori would have seen you coming and run. They'd schedule a new shipment for later, and our spies might not know when or where. This is risky, yes, but it's our best chance to destroy the shipping operation permanently.
Let's go hold up our end of this bargain, then.
My agent suggested 2 possible locations the Venatori may be camped to guard the shore. There, and there. We'll need to split up and hit both at once.
I'll come with you, boss. Krim can lead the charges. Let me fill him in. Come by when you're ready to move.
Alright. Maybe get a little view of the other side of the pond, so to speak. Oops. Or try to fast forward through conversation and smash that dude in his face. Sorry about that. Never mind. Oh, so this is a little side area on the Storm Coast. Gotcha.
Once they're down, send up your signal. That'll let the Dreadnought know it's safe to come in.
Understood, Chief.
Remember, you're gonna want a volley to start, but don't get suckered into fighting at range. They've got mages.
It's all right. We've got a mage of our own.
I'm not a mage.
Get in close and take their enchanter down before he takes over the battlefield.
He'll be dead before he knows it.
Just pay attention, all right? The Vince want this red lyrium shipment bad.
Yes, I know. Thanks, Mother.
Qunari don't have mothers, remember?
We'll be fine, Chief.
All right, Chargers. Horns up!
Horns up!
Ready whenever you are, boss.
I'm ready to head out, Bo.
Right. Chargers, hit them hard and hit them fast. When this is over, drinks are on me.
You got it, Chief. Charges, double time. Let's move!
Everybody puts on their angel wings for the rallying speech. Like that. Alright, sorry. Couldn't resist. Alright, so, let's we'll head out.
Charges the easier target.
You think?
Lower and farther from the smuggler's ship, it's much less likely to be heavily defended.
Suppose we'll do the heavy lifting then. Just like old times.
So I'm assuming this elf has a problem with A, Bull caring about his troops, and B, having some kind of human compassion or decency about himself. Thinking Bull is a little farther removed from the Qun than he would like to think. One thing I was thinking about is, you know, red lyrium is like the center point. It's, you know, it's kind of like the main antagonist here in the game, I guess you could say. I mean, we know who the...
Have fallen. It must please you to wield your power so freely, mage.
Quite the reverse.
Hmm.
Mages are dangerous, and their power makes them feared. The circles protected us.
You sound almost reasonable.
Well, I don't think you should be taking shots at my party. That's probably not wise or safe. But, you know, we know who the main antagonist person here is, but red lyrium is like the thing. In Dragon Age 2, blood magic was the thing, and in Origins, you know, the blight was the thing. And these things are obviously, you know, tied together, but I think even more fundamentally on a...
Out any of your mercenaries down there?
Not from here. Probably a better view once we take the Vince camp.
I'm thinking,
They're my men. I've been with some of them for years.
It's tied together more fundamentally on a simpler level in some way. I'm even thinking so far as to say that, you know, like lyrium, regular lyrium being the essence of a spirit in a physical form, so to speak, being basically a living thing in this world, but not really of this world, so to speak. Out of place, just like a spirit would be summoned into this world out of place. And red lyrium being essentially the essence of, say, a demon. Not too much different. I mean, the opposite, but the same as far as substance goes. Is, you know, it's lyrium, okay? But its nature is evil, and the only way you can make an object evil is to give it life. You know, an object is an object. It's going to do whatever is done with it, as far as that goes. All right, so it takes, I guess you could say, a spirit or intelligence of its own to be evil by nature, right? So this lyrium is essentially like that. You have good and evil, you know. Good and bad lyrium, and it's definitely related to spirits, you know. Maybe a lot of it's already been explained and I just haven't read it or seen it or snapped to it, you know. It's probably right there in my face and I just, you know, not seeing it. But whatever the case, there's definitely a strong tie, a strong relation in there. And I think if this is anything like Mass Effect writing, we'll find out more towards the end, the more clearly we dig back to the beginning. Right, the more the very start of it becomes clear, the end will make more sense. That seems to be how they like to share their clues and you know, kind of bring all the sides, all the facets of the story to life and to light. Is just, you know, piece at a time, little by little, revealing their story. It's pretty cool.
Right, signaling the dreadnought.
Chargers already sent theirs up. See them down there.
I knew you gave them the easier job.
There's the dreadnought. That brings back memories. Nice one. Crap.
They've still got time to fall back if you signal them now.
Yeah,
Your men need to hold that position, Bull.
they do that. They're dead.
And if they don't, the Venatori retake it and the Dreadnought is dead. You'd be throwing away an alliance between the Inquisition and the Qunari. You'd be declaring yourself Talvishoth. With all you've given the Inquisition, half the Ben Hassrath think you've betrayed us already. I stood up for you, Hisrad. I told them you would never become Talvishoth.
They're my men.
I know, but you need to do what's right, Hisrad, for this alliance and for the Qun.
Well, that would make doing what's right wrong. I don't agree with that.
Retreat.
Don't!
They're falling back.
All these years, Hisrad, and you throw away all that you are. For what? For this? For them?
No, you watch your mouth, elf.
His name is Iron Bull.
I suppose it is.
This elf says that like his opinion means something. Like we're supposed to give a shit.
No way they'll get out of range. Won't be long now.
Bull, when the dreadnought sinks,
Sinks. Qunari dreadnoughts don't sink.
Self-destruct to keep their secrets safe of their gunpowder.
Let's get back to my boys.
Well, at least that's smart. That would give them an edge over any other naval force in the world in an age where there wasn't gunpowder, except what the Qunari had.
Hey, boss.
Inquisitor, it is my duty to inform you that there will be no alliance between our peoples. Nor will you be receiving any more Ben Hassrath reports from your Talvishoth ally.
You under orders?
Shit, we were getting by fine without them.
The Ben Hassrath have already lost one good man. They'd rather not lose two.
So much for that.
I'm proud of you, Bull.
Thanks, boss. You're late.
Sorry, Chief. Still sore from fighting off all those Vints. Good to see you, Inquisitor.
How did the Chargers come out of the fight?
Just fine. Thanks to you and the Chief, we had plenty of time to fall back. Chief's even breaking open a cask of chasing sackmead for the Chargers tonight.
Damn it, Krem. That's the kind of thing you don't have to mention to the Inquisitor.
Sorry, Chief.
Ah, forget it. You're doing fine.
Well, at least he understands what's important here. That's pretty cool.
Mayor Gregory Dedrick of Crestwood is present for betraying his own constituents. He confesses that, 10 years ago, he flooded Old Crestwood to kill refugees and villagers touched by the Blight. The mayor claims it was to spare the rest of Crestwood, but we only have his word.
No, I found evidence that supports what he says, as distasteful as it may seem.
If the mayor has anything to say in his defense, let him speak.
There's no cure for the Blight. But I couldn't convince anyone to leave a sick child or husband behind.
So you herded the infected into one place and flooded Old Crestwood? Were no innocents caught in the waters?
Nearly everyone in the village had the Blight. I swear it. Have mercy. I couldn't tell the survivors I'd drowned their own families to save them. I couldn't.
No, I don't think so either. I wish there was an option to let him go. I'm not lying. I really do. He has to live with a tough choice for the rest of his life. That's punishment enough. There's a difference between murder and mercy killing to save those that can be saved in the middle of a blight, which is bad enough. Get more into why I made this decision.
Crime, then fled after confessing your guilt. For avoiding justice, you are exiled from Ferelden. I doubt the Crown will disagree.
I knew your coming meant the end, one way or another.
Mistress Pulin of Sarnia is accused of aiding and abetting the Red Templars in the Dales. She sold a quarry to them for a handsome sum. They used the quarry to grow red lyrium by enslaving townspeople. The only extenuating circumstance, Mistress Pulin was procuring supplies to keep the remaining townspeople fed.
Yes, she was, and I read the Templar notes about her too. She had absolutely no other choice.
Intentions, speak.
My crime was misjudgment. The land sale was meant to bring prosperity in hard times.
Yet you kept taking coin from the Red Templars, even after you realized what they'd done to the people.
Why not? It bought food for the ones remaining. Isn't that enough?
And I saw her giving it away too.
Let me. Tell me which you weigh me for.
I like the judgment option here. I think this is cool.
Mistress Pulin, you will spend all your ill-earned money rebuilding the town of Sarnia. If the townspeople forgive you, your debt to them is paid.
Your worship, I will do my best to repair what I have done.
That judgment wasn't for me. It was for her, so she could redeem herself in her own mind. Obviously an honorable woman. Having read the notes going through the quarry, you know, the Red Templar captain notes or whatever, find out that she had no choice. I mean, okay, the rivers are frozen over, so she gets no supplies, right? They can't trade anymore. The mine wasn't making money anyway. I found a note to that effect, right? And she found willing buyers and a source of income and food for the people, putting the people first, right? Well then, later on, when the Templars revealed what they were, she had no out. All of her soldiers are gone fighting some stupid civil war. She has no defense for the town. She's certainly not going to pick up a sword and fight off 1,000 Red Templar captains, yada, yada, yada. Okay? And there's absolutely nothing she can do, all right? So, she's got a choice is to kind of let the Templars bleed them out and play the game, so to speak, and hope somebody comes along to save them, which she actually says, specifically says that, right? Or know that the Red Templars could come in and take the town and take everybody anyway, which is what they're going to do. All right, so she bided her time, and she has to live with that. And it was like a lose-lose, and she took literally.
King Alistair would appreciate having them removed from Ferelden's shores.
She took literally the lesser of two evils on that, and I'm totally down with that lady. So I gave her that judgment. Literally, you know, I was kind of putting myself in a situation of what if I was faced with this in real life, in this same circumstance. This would be for her, that she could go redeem herself, she could rebuild the town, she could make up to the people something that really wasn't her fault in the first place. If I'm going to judge anybody in this, the only thing I can do with a clear conscience is judge the Red Templars in this. They're the criminals here, okay? Not her. She's a victim. And I think she did what she could for what was left of the town in the situation where everybody was going to eventually be herded into these slave pens, you know? And there was even a note that she was doing everything she could to send the sick ones first. And, oh my god, what kind of decision would that be? And it obviously tore her up. Honorable woman. Okay, now, not too different from the mayor in Crestwood, honestly. You have a blight here, all right? So once again, lose-lose situation. What are you supposed to do in a blight where everybody's running around, you know, like ants with their heads cut off, not knowing what to do, not knowing if they're going to live just another minute type of thing. So he has his village that can't stand against a full-out blight attack, right? All right, the Darkspawn are here. They've already spread the sickness to a lot of his people. He has refugees that he's brought in. It's not that he doesn't care about them, but their numbers, and you have the Darkspawn coming. If he went so far as to literally leave these refugees as bait to draw the Darkspawn into that village and then flood the entire village and wash the Darkspawn away too, amongst people that were already dying anyway. And to the best of his knowledge, there is no cure for this, you know? You know, they're not going to come in and make everyone in Crestwood a warden. What they're going to do is hear later on in history that everyone in Crestwood died. That's how it's going to go down in history, all right? But something amazing could have happened and a miracle could have occurred. I don't want to hear all that. And the reality of it is he sees this blight flooding through, and what is he going to do for the remaining people? And so he does give some of them shelter in caves, like away from the healthy, but to give them a chance. But then the caves get flooded too. All right, and we find that out later when we go to actually close the rift, and we see, you know, people who had been holed up in there, and is to keep them hopefully safe from the Darkspawn, but you know, away from the healthy villagers also. What else is he supposed to do? I mean, seriously, when you tie a man's hand completely and then you ask him to type a letter for you, I mean, it's, yeah, that's a catch-22. He had no win. If he lets everybody die, then he has to live with that forever. What could he have done to save the people that wouldn't have died? All right, then he essentially says that he killed the people in the village, and essentially, I guess, in a way, sort of a sacrifice type deal, for the greater good, if that's what you know. I think that's an overused phrase, but you know, honestly, I'm not going to say I would have done anything different, and I'm not going to say it wouldn't have been any harder to live with, but I would have regretted the fact that I was put in that position in the first place. But being a leader means making hard choices, and that is one of those hard choices, and I agree with what he did. Hiding and lying about it later, also, if he considered it a crime, whether it was or not, doesn't matter. Guilt is a powerful thing. So if he has to live with this for years later, thinking, what if I could have done something different, right? But on the spur of the moment, he did the one thing that he could do, and it cost lives, and it obviously tore him up, you know. Maybe death would have been a mercy, you know, someone like that, but he could go and possibly find something to redeem himself. I didn't really like the judgment options given there. It's like the right one, what I would have done personally, I would have brought him in service for the Inquisition, if nothing else, to I don't know.
I can never find the proper words.
You right? Really?
I've needed to describe events in reports. They always come off as
dry, boring, lifeless, stale.
You are an ass.
Just helping you find those words.
They secretly love each other. All right, but yeah. Anyways, all right. So that's what I'm thinking with those two judgments. You know, in wartime, you know, times are hard. It's different rules. You know, murder and killing are two different things. Premeditated hatred for somebody, killing them for your own means or just for some, you know, pleasure or whatever is one thing. Keeping somebody off your homeland, keep them from raping your wives and killing your children and taking your homes and, you know, all that, that's a different thing. Self-defense is not the same thing. It's not with the same motive, you know. A serial killer does not have the same motive as someone who's, you know, keeping somebody from breaking in and killing his family in the middle of the night, you know, crawling in through the window. It's two completely different things. I guess the result is that somebody dies either way, but sometimes, okay, this is going to sound really harsh, people need killing. There's a lot of cases of that today. Prison's full of people that are just sucking off the tax dollars, whose very presence, you know, they have no place among the community because their every word and action and deed is corruption. Not much different than the blight. Seriously, we have people like that, you know, and there's no cure for that. And you say, well, they have right. As soon as you take someone else's right to live away, you forfeited your own rights, and you will continue to take other people's rights away until you're taken out of the picture, taken out of the equation. I firmly believe that. In fact, saying otherwise, well, the way crime is now, and the way people act now, and the way people view death now, where you'll sit out there and you'll picket some serial killer monster who's raped, killed, and eaten, you know, 15 children or something. You'll picket outside the prison, you know, protesting putting them to death, right? Which sends a clear message to all these people's families, right? That their victims didn't mean shit. You weren't picketing about that, but you're going to picket for this monster? Well, that's hypocrisy to the point of it's just ridiculous, right? But supporting essentially their behavior. Okay, now there's a key for this door here. I've got to find it. I have a feeling somebody is either going to drop it or did drop it, and I'm just completely missing it. Let me look around here a little bit. All right, but anyway, you know, that's a huge social debate and all that. You know, that's obviously not going to get fixed here. Not that my opinion matters anyway. But anyway, yeah, you know, I just looking at the choices that these two individuals had to make. It's hard, and I don't blame them. You know, I don't think they're at fault there. I don't think their motive was to maliciously kill people just for their own satisfaction. Wahaha! As they sit up there in the luxury of their homes and look down upon the masses and know that their lives are at their whim. I don't see any of that shit at all. I see people trying to get by in horrible situations. You know, a blight, the Red Templars, you know, kidnapping everybody and whatever, and doing whatever they're doing with them and stuff. And what the hell are these people supposed to do? These aren't generals commanding armies of thousands, you know, that are letting the people go anyway. These are people completely abandoned by the army, military, stuck out there alone against forces that they have no chance of defeating, right? Forces that are specifically geared to do one thing and one thing only, is kill every last one of them, you know? What are they supposed to do? So, anyway, enough of that. In this place right here, I did look around, just showing you kind of my wanderings, just seeing if there's any maybe hidden secret stuff. I noticed they like to have you climb for things here and there in the game, so I was thinking, well, maybe something out here might lead to some cool chest or something. But as it is, I just fell in the water a lot. But okay, so this area is unlocked once you get a war table mission. You essentially have the Inquisition soldiers. I'm getting trolled by my party here. They're just not going to let me out. You get the Inquisition soldiers to open the door to this thing. This place is always here on the coast. You just can't get through that one door to the mine. Anyway, so you get them to open it. You come through here, and I really want to see what's behind this door. And I think I killed whatever dropped the key for this. That's my guess. Or else it's somewhere deeper in this cave. Either or. I'm just gonna sit there and bang my head up against it forever. But you get through here, and if you remember way earlier in the game, you see a dragon fighting with this giant. You know, they're having this epic battle. If you have Sarah with you, it's great, because Sarah's like, yeah, let's watch, man. we can just pull up the popcorn and just take a seat and enjoy the show, right? And of course the dragon flies off either once the giant's dead or once you get close enough to fight the giant yourself. The dragon doesn't want to have any part of that, so it goes on about its business. Anyway, so this is the way to get to that dragon. Anyone who's been through here knows that, but anyway, I enjoyed exploring this. It's not deep roads, but it's deep road-ish. Now, I want to put this little area right here in light of the guy who did the building over there close to the western approach in the Hissing Wastes. All right, the above-ground thaig, essentially. And if you go around and you find all the brothers' tombs, you'll read a little bit about that. Is that this apparently, and this is paraphrasing a lot and probably way oversimplifying it, but the gist of it from what I got from it is you have this guy, and he's this if he's not a paragon, he may have actually been a paragon, but he's this great smith who came up with, I don't know, some great weapons of war or whatever. Anyway, and he saw that the things he was creating were essentially empowering even the bad to do bad things or something. Anyway, for some, you know, matter of conscience or whatever it was, he decides to essentially leave the deep roads and build a thaig essentially above ground, right? Or basically on the surface. And there's even some notes, you know, he goes there among the sand and he finds rock, and from that rock or that stone he can build, right? And so they do. And then in his passing, he basically asks his son to carry on their legacy of a new society, a new dwarven life or whatever. And not too long, they fall right back into old dwarven politics and start, you know, fighting amongst each other. And, you know, of course, they're buried and scattered around, and you go find their tombs and get some really sexy gear out of it and what have you. But that's kind of the gist of it. We're seeing more above-ground stuff here and there. And you know when the first hint of that was? In Ostigard. You find that tower, and they're like, well, what is dwarven stuff doing above ground? What do you mean there's dwarven tunnels under the tower? What was it called? The Tower of Ashal, I think? Whatever. Where they're supposed to light the signal fire, all right? Underneath there were you know, tunnels leading into the deep roads. That was essentially, Ostagar is essentially an above-ground dwarven ruin or place or whatever. What significance that has, I'm not really sure. Now, okay, that's what's behind that door, and I want that. You know why I want that? Because it's there. That's why I want that. For no other reason but that. And, yeah, I need to go find that key. I really do. Just for my own sanity. Like I said, let me get to the end. Actually, I think I'm getting pretty close here. Yeah, I see a cave leading out right there. All right, so that goes back to the coast. Now we're on the other side of this passage. If there's no boss here that drops a key where I have to backtrack, then I'm gonna go back myself and go look for. Okay, or I can just fall off in the water and die. Oh, that makes sense. But, you know, maybe it's that guy in the hissing waste wasn't alone in what he did, right? Also, I'm kind of beginning to wonder if the dwarves that we know now are the same as the dwarves that were back with the first dwarves, the very, very first ones. I mean, there's records going back that don't really say they changed much, and you know, I'll say that there's a little bit of mystery in what is not told to us about dwarves in general. There's something there. I'll use Elder Scrolls, you know, Oblivion and Skyrim. Their dwarves, for an example, or their lack of dwarves, right? What you think of dwarves, they kind of throw a twist on it, is, okay, well, apparently these guys weren't worried about anyone but me, and I'm just getting two-shotted by whatever they're shooting out of their hands. But, the dwarves in Elder Scrolls, the way the play that they make on it, is their dwarves really aren't dwarves at all like what we think of dwarves. They're not, you know, these little short, stocky, little guys, okay? They were as tall, if not taller, than any other elf. In fact, Dwemer, the Elder Scrolls name for an elf is a mer. You know, Altmer, Dunmer, Dwemer, Orzamer for the orcs.
This location offers easy access to the waking sea. Who knows what they might have accomplished had they been allowed to remain.
But anyway, they make a play that the dwarfs, not being this short, stocky, whatever people of some kind of legend, but actually being just another elf and then being gone. I had my own theory as to where they went, but setting all that aside, they play on it a little differently. So here, I'm wondering if the dwarves that we have, that we see now, you know, like in Orzammar from Origins, and the dwarfs that we can even play here, Varric, you know, whatever. If they, I don't know as far as stature, physical appearance goes, but if they aren't different than they were from the first dwarves, could the first dwarves use magic? There's too much evidence of magic, and even the working with lyrium and stuff, and the fact that they seem to be tranquil. If the art of tranquility is something that was copied by man, was it not a divine sentence passed down at some point, and then it was emulated or copied by people? If you get what I'm saying. In other words, men saw that they could screw over other people, namely the dwarves, in a certain way. Maybe mages in a power play, you know how the Tevinters get jealous of each other's magic abilities, right? And try to kill each other and do whatever. If nothing, and even better yet than kill your opponent is shame them publicly, right? And have them destroyed so they have to live with their failure and see how omnipotent and awesome you are, right? The way the Tevinters think. Okay, so what if at some point the dwarves were magic-using peoples? I did go back and find that key, by the way, so I'll just show you it's through this door. I had to go see. Essentially, I had to reload the area, and the key popped up. It was dropped by one of those Templars. I'm sure one of them was a captain that was carrying it or something. But anyway. Alright, but let's just say at some point the elves, or the dwarves, could use magic, even if they look the same as they do now. Whatever. Doesn't forget all that. It's just, who were they as a people then, and did something change? Were they, in a sense, made tranquil as a people as a whole? I don't know. Similar to what I think in Elder Scrolls, you have Azura. I think Azura sent all the dwarves as a people as a whole to oblivion for a little trick they tried to play on her. They basically immortalized themselves, at least in their own minds, became deities in and of themselves, and once they could pull the wool over a deity's eyes, their clever crafting and stuff, she said, okay, if you want to be immortal, you can be immortal. I think she sent them all to the plane of oblivion. It's what I think the, not the Dwemer, but the Drumora in Oblivion come from. Something along those lines, because they strongly resemble elves. I'm talking about the red skin and the fangs and the claws and all that other stuff, but just as far as their stature and stuff goes, and them thinking that they're just these omnipotent beasts. Also, the association with their affinity for soul gems in the real world, which is obvious if you ever go to Dwarven Ruin in Elder Scrolls, and then the relation of soul gems and sigils and things like that to the plane of oblivion and stuff. I don't know, you know, just relatively vague, but I have a sneaky suspicion that there's some tie-in there, just from what I've read and seen. But anyway, that just the point that there may be some kind of history there. Maybe something different way back then that's been completely clouded, covered over by history. And like I mentioned earlier, and I this is a pattern that I see in their writing, and I love it. It's unique. Is they essentially slowly reveal the past to tell you the story of the future in these games. They did it in Mass Effect. Many things in Mass Effect didn't make sense until you could dig all the way back in the very beginning. Stuff that wasn't documented, stuff that wasn't written down essentially anywhere, not all in one place. You had to dig it up. You had to piece together codexes and clues. You had to, you know, figure it out. And essentially, it's like, you know, they take a puzzle and throw it up in the air, break it up into a million pieces, throw it in a box, and then slowly work that puzzle from the outside in, a piece at a time. And they give you lots of inside pieces so you can get glimpses of the whole picture, right? But you have to find them, and you have to look at them, and you have to put them in their place. If you put one piece out of place, it doesn't really make sense in context. It may sort of look right. Anybody who's ever put together a jigsaw puzzle, you'll know that sometimes a piece looks like it should go here, but then you put several pieces around it, and it's totally out of place. And you can see humans making that kind of error. People making that kind of error. The elves, everyone making that kind of error in putting a piece out of place, thinking it fits there, and saying this is a part of history, when it's not the truth at all. It is a truth, but it doesn't pertain whatsoever to what you're talking about, right? But once these pieces fall into the proper place and you can go back, right, and get a closer look at how that picture was before it was broken up into a million pieces, then later on when you put those pieces in place, it makes a lot more sense. I think that's how they work, and what I love about that is it's almost open-ended, you know? How big is this picture? How much story do you want to tell, you know? With Mass Effect, I thought it was commendable that they had the nerve to end the series, to actually finish it. To, you know, when you read a book doesn't essentially go on forever. You may have a series of novels, right? But that book in and of itself is not going to, you know, just... it's not going to be a billion pages long. It's going to tell its story. It's going to have a beginning and an end. Mass Effect did that, and they were brave enough to finish it. Whether you like the ending or not, I'm not even going to get into all that. I love the ending. I don't really care. But the fact was, they told a story. They said, this is our story. This is the life of the shepherd. The shepherd isn't an immortal person that gets a million lives and all this. The shepherd is me and you that had heroic things demanded of him or her and met those challenges in the way she knew how, and you could play that story out as that. I thought that was just fabulous. That was awesome in its own right. Well, here, this being much, I guess you could say, more open-ended, is that you're not talking about the story of just one person. All right, we're not playing one character. We had the Warden, and many people, I think, with that whole Mass Effect flavor in mind, wish there could have been more story for the Warden, you know, and stuff like that. But they told that story. But here, what's cool is you can tell the story of Warden. You tell the story of a Hawk, and how these different protagonists each have their own part in the story, and each have their own story to tell. Right? Now we're the Inquisitor. In the next game, what will we be? I'm hoping to see a Warden again. Honestly, personally, I want to really get into the Wardens and the Undercross and stuff. There's a lot of story, especially future story, that could be told there. The remaking or completely abolishing of the Warden Order, or coming up with some new thing, you know, something that a totally new beginning to meet some future threat where things are coming to a head, and you know, like in Mass Effect, at some point after so many generations of the Reapers doing their thing, at some point it had to come to a head, and either whatever they were trying to do had to work or not, you know, type of thing. They had to get what they were looking for, was to finally machines to become human, right? To have a soul, right? Essentially, to it can't be programmed, it can't be given by another person. It's something they have to have of their own. And machines being essentially an object, they wanted that object to have life. Kind of cool, kind of leans back on the whole Lyrium principle there, an object having life and stuff. But you know, they needed Shepard for that, and Shepard would or would not give essentially him or herself as that one machine capable of having enough will to overcome its own nature, you know. And you know, they told that. So here, Dragon Age, you have, you know, lots of different stories and stuff, but like I say, I would like to see it come at some point to a head. I mean, I'm not gonna say there's ever too much of a good thing necessarily, but at some point the story has to be told. You can go on to something else. They have to be doing that with Mass Effect 4. They have to be going on to something else, you know. I'm hoping to have a Mass Effect flavor, if nothing else, the art, the world there, you know, the way the buildings look, the way the ships and stuff, that whole style, and hopefully the same depth of story writing. I do worry about that. I don't think they have the same writers in place to write that story anymore, but they can start a new story as long as it has that same caliber, that same really, really well disguised pattern of breaking up that puzzle and going back to the beginning of that puzzle as you work towards the end of that puzzle. I hope they use that. If they have that type of thing, I don't really care what kind of story they tell. I'm more than happy to hear that story and play through that story. That's never been disappointed. I think BioWare has pretty high standards as far as that goes. They have a certain vision, they have a certain depth of quality in their storytelling that they expect, which far surpasses most other storytellers. Kind of like best-selling novelists bringing their stories to life in a video game, you know, essentially. That's how they always kind of strike me. I admittedly am just hacking away at this dragon. These lightning rings in here, being kind of a slow, sluggish warrior here. There's probably like Dispel and various other things like that that could deal with that type of stuff. I'm not going to pause in the menu. I'm just going to bang my head against this wall until this dragon dies. That was my whole thinking here. I'll hit you harder than you hit me, punk. And then I win, you know. I think his most dangerous move isn't necessarily this. The rogue has a good out, is anytime you go into stealth you can lose this ring. But he'll start flapping his wings, and if you try to stay away, he hurts you as you get drawn closer by his little wing tornado thing that he does. Alright? And if you're in there close, as long as your ring is touching somebody else's ring, then it periodically zaps you for a good amount of lightning damage, right? These lightning dragons, I think you'll find in some videos you watch, you know, dragons getting soloed. How about that 7600 crit? That wasn't too bad. They get better, but that wasn't too bad. I think a lot of people you see soloing dragons, they're soloing these lightning dragons. Because one, I didn't notice this dragon calling in any children, you know, as backup. And two is if you have that lightning ring on just yourself, you don't have anyone else for it to trigger on, okay? But when you bring in your party, it actually makes the lightning dragon fights harder. It actually, I don't know if the dragon has more health based on the number of people that are present. You know, it seems like I had to hack away at this guy for quite a while, and I was doing so-so damage, considering where we're at in this point in the game. If you followed along my character build for the Warrior, Reaver, Berserker, then you'll know about where I was at here. But yeah, these lightning guys, they're harder as a group. It's like I say, he essentially, when he breathes that AoE lightning thing, like I got on me right now, on you, your teammates hurt each other. You know, it's not so much the dragon; it's your own guys. Like I say, Dispel or one of the Templar abilities, I'm sure, to take care of that. But screw that. I'm just gonna hold down my trigger, close my eyes, and hope for the best. The mages are doing just enough to keep the barrier up. I think we're out of potions and all that other stuff now. Now it's just me and you, buddy. It's that type of thing. I really like having Cassandra use shield wall, because every once in a while you get a spot of extra guard or armor, whatever you want to call it. kind of out of nowhere. Usually when you need it most too, it's really nice to have that. Because she's like right there with you. She's got your back. If you set your behaviors right, you know, for her to follow your targeting, she's going to be right in there with you with her sword and board. You know, she's going to have your back, and I think that's awesome. I'll share my build where I'm at right here. I think one downside to where I'm at right at this point right here, it's really so much equipment. It's not really geared towards what I want to do. I want to be pulling off a lot of criticals and a lot of critical damage and stuff. And haven't found the stuff for that. Well, I need an ornate battle axe schematic more than anything else in the world. I couldn't really care less about armor. I'm just wearing just whatever right now. But seriously want an ornate battle axe. You know, I think I may build another warrior and run through just specifically looking for that schematic. And I'm going to gear that character for max damage. And I'm going to see what kind of numbers I can come up with. And I'll share that with you guys. I'll update it. I'll throw it in the list with my Berserker build. And
Fight hard, Seeker.
We would be dead if
maybe I'll play a human or a dwarf. I'm doing an elf rogue. That's pretty much done. I'll be uploading that last video here pretty shortly for the level 20. Actually, I think I'm level 21 in the video, but whatever. Close enough. Final build. All right. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you want to subscribe, click that button over my head for more Inquisition. Click the top box for a complete playlist of all my playlists. Click the bottom box. And thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.